and he's working on engaging humor program, and his project is writing a speech with purpose. I asked Thomas to describe Christmas in 2 words. He said, cozy and deforestation. Ooh. So please welcome the folk of ancient history, Thomas.
Have you ever thought about how your ancestors lived? And I don't mean my grandma from a few weeks ago. We all know how cool she was with her love for chocolate and supremely wise philosophy. I mean thousands or tens of thousands of years ago. Times where you had to do your homework on clay tablets. When veganism was a fad reserved for below par hunters. And Toastmasters didn't even exist. Imagine how inadequate some people must have felt convincing their fellow farmers to domesticate goats. Dear Toastmasters and guests, I want to wish you a warm and festive welcome. I've always thought about how our ancestors lived, but it's actually really hard. Yes, we watch movies, read textbooks, but combining taste, smells, visuals, and emotions makes it nearly impossible for us to really imagine how it would have been. This is frustrating, but also really exciting, because it enables us to dream how it would have been. Any minimally respectable historian will tell you, you have to know the past to understand the present and face the future. That's the kind of quote which has been reused to be in 13-year-old's Instagram bio. So I'm going to refrain from giving any attention to it. And I'm not fond of giving lessons like this quote. But I do think that thinking about the past can be quite fun. Imagine being immersed in a time where a mammoth, a sloth, and a saber-toothed tiger are saving a human baby from a freezing earth. Sounds pretty cool, right? And on top of it, you have an indestructible saber-toothed squirrel fighting for its life to eat an acorn. Let's then think a bit more about the past. Humans have evolved over millennia, and yes, it's true, we still have the same basic needs. But I do wonder whether our ancestors had the same problems as we did. Did people complain as much as the Germans? Or the French? Were overprotective parents also a thing? And what about public speaking? Where do people go for that? I would pay a lot to be a fly on a wall during these times. Reliving the reincarnation of Friends, but Egyptian style. Think about it. Ross would be unemployed with no dinosaurs to research. Rachel would be married to the Roman emperor, not to the unemployed paleontologist. Monica would be OCD about her fish stall. Chandler's jokes would start something like, why did the alligator cross the Nile? Phoebe, well, I'm not really sure where she would be, as I don't think in vitro fertilization existed back then. But she'd be some kind of spiritual mind reader warning us about the arrival of supercomputers, like ChatGPT. And Joey, well, Joey would be at the Egyptian equivalent of the local tavern, chatting up women. I wonder whether his ageless pickup line also worked back then. And honestly, Joey seems to have the most plausible reconversion out of all of them. When I was young, I also thought about what I would be in ancient Egypt. And as a Swiss that likes to ski and works as a data scientist, I'm not sure there would be a place for me in the time of the pharaohs. But I did study economics, so I can imagine myself arguing against the labor strikes of the pyramid slaves, making sure King Ramses achieves optimal efficiency in his real estate ventures. But these thoughts do make me think how little we really know about the past. Anybody that thinks the Flintstones was an accurate description of the Stone Age might be a bit deluded. And it does seem like we're a little bit arrogant about ancient history. And I don't mean arrogant about not respecting ancient knowledge or traditional civilization. I mean arrogant about what we think we know about the past. This is especially true as in the past decade, we've seen incredible discoveries being made in places like Indonesia, Malta, or Turkey. These discoveries have essentially told us that mysterious ancient civilizations have existed much further back than we imagined. They've pushed back the timeline of human civilization from around 6,000 years ago in Mesopotamia to nearly 12,000 years ago, before the Ice Age. And these ancient civilizations had a very complex society and a deep understanding of things like astrology and the cycles of planets and stars. And all of these discoveries really fly in the face of what archaeologists, anthropologists, and historians have believed until now. This is exactly why I think we're at the start of the Dunning-Kruger effect. For those that aren't familiar, it's when you first learn a new skill or you're in a new field, you think you know everything. That was a bit like me when I did my first Toastmasters speech a few weeks ago. But as you learn more about the field and you write your second speech and receive feedback, you realize how little you know. So I hope these absurd examples and parallels vividly show us how much there's still yet to be understood and discovered about the past. So if there's one takeaway from the speech is, let's be humble about what we know, about what we think we know, but especially about what we don't know. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas, for your speech. Now, every single one of you can